Based on their track record, very few things ever really change. Because, again, Vince McMahon, at the end of the day, is still overseeing the show. And I saw the interview, I saw the transcript anyway, I didn't hear it, but I saw Jimmy Jacobs, I mentioned him last week, and things he was tweeting out about how hard it is to write a 3-hour show. And I saw he gave an interview, I think, to The Observer, and really detailed the creative process in WWE. And when you're done reading it or listening to it, your head will spin. And you think to yourself, how do these people get anything done in the course of a week? They're worked to the bone. It's a 24/7, 365 job. But one of the recurring themes throughout what Jimmy Jacobs was saying, even as he tried to defend Vince McMahon and defend the process, he kept coming back to this idea that everything is conceived of and written and done with the idea in their minds, is Vince going to like this? And I get that it's his product, it's his company, it's his show. He should have final say in the product that goes out. Look, I didn't have a problem with Vince having final say in the 90s. Vince can have all the final say he wants as long as he's putting out a product that people like. Clearly, that's happening less and less. But over and over again in this interview, Jacobs is saying, we're writing and thinking of things and doing everything with the idea in mind, is Vince McMahon going to like it? And that right there is the problem, the biggest problem of all. Because they're writing, I've said this before, they're writing for an audience of 1. They're not writing for an audience of 2 million or 3 million. And yes, the fans sometimes don't even have a full grasp on what it is that they want. Everybody's got their own ideas. You can't please everybody. That's true. I get that. But they're writing for an audience of 1. They know what Vince likes. They know the kind of crude humor he likes. They know the things he doesn't like, or the talent maybe that he doesn't like. And they worry, oh my God, is Vince going to like this? Is he going to yell at me? Is he going to snap at me? I know the kind of promo segment that he likes. Let's write it in the way that he likes. That's the worst thing that you could be doing. That interview that he gave only confirmed all of the awful things that we've been thinking about how this whole process works. They write for Vince McMahon. Maybe they need to start writing for their audience. Maybe they need to start writing for you and me. But they worked for him. I get it. I understand why they feel that way. I don't know how you bridge that gap. I don't know how you fix that. It's easy for me to sit here and say that, oh, they shouldn't be writing everything for Vince. They should be writing with the fans in mind. They should think of things from a fan perspective. Okay, but then if they pitch it to Vince, he's just going to snap at them and blow it up anyway. It's a no-win situation. It goes back to what I've said before. This guy has been the showrunner of Monday Night Raw for almost 26 years now. And he's had a lot of success. He's the most successful wrestling promoter that there's ever been. And, you know, when the day comes that Vince is here no longer, you're going to hear a lot of wonderful things about him. There's going to be a lot of tributes to him and all the changes and things he did for the wrestling business, and a lot of it is probably true. For all the bad, there was a lot of good. There's never going to be another person like Vince McMahon. But I do think that when you finally remove him from the equation and you get some new minds and new faces in there, maybe Triple H just slides into the Vince position, but I'd like to think he'd be a little more open-minded to new ideas and new ways of doing things. Until that day comes, we're just not going to know. Look, maybe Triple H takes over and things are worse. I find that hard to believe. Until that day comes, we just don't know. But I read the transcript of that interview, and I shook my head the entire time. First of all, it gave me a headache reading about how the whole process works. It's so frigging disorganized and ridiculous. And his argument that, no, 25 writers is fine. If anything, we need more. And he was very much against the idea of having less than 25 writers. Well, of course. What do you think? The writers are listening to everything the fans are saying, and they're going to sign on with all these thoughts. Oh, when people say fire the creative team, boy, things used to be easier when it was just Vince McMahon and 3 other people. That's the last thing they want, because they'd be out of a job. What do you think these people are going to say? Of course the writers are going to disagree with that viewpoint. Their fucking jobs are on the line. They're going to do whatever it takes to protect their jobs. They know things would probably be a little bit easier to manage if there were less of them. They're not going to admit that. They're not going to say that. Because then they'll be unemployed. The whole process is fucked.